Yeah, it's mindset cafe, we all got that mindset. Gotta stay focused, never settle for less. It's all in your head, how you think you manifest. So get ready to rise, cause we about to be the best. Gotta switch it up, gotta break the old habits. Get your mind right, turn your dreams into habits. No negative vibes, only positive thoughts.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Mindset Cafe podcast, the best podcast out there for mindset development, personal development, and, fun. But with that being said, welcome to another live episode, guys. Tonight, we wanted to dive a little bit into aligning your actions with your goals and what that really is going to kind of mean throughout today's episode. Before I say that, make sure you guys are in the comments today, and we will let you guys know because we know some people will be slowly trickling in. But today's episode, aligning your actions with your goals, how good habits shouldn't justify bad decisions, right? So that's the main topic of today's episode. So before we dive into that, again, is anyone in the comments yet?
No, it's only me.
Oh, see, awkward moment. We'll give it a couple seconds. With that being said, I know we're wearing matching shirts, for those that are watching. We were testing out two different designs. Nick has the arm design on plus, right? And then on mine, I have the big design on the back. So we were testing it out, but we're probably gonna end up going with that one because this one is making me sweat like crazy. But let's dive into it a little bit while people start, coming in. So the concept of goal alignment, Nicholas. What is the concept of goal alignment? And what I mean by goal alignment is, achieving your goals, requiring it to align in all aspects of your life and your lifestyle choices and how you dictate that.
Right. So in my opinion, when you say goal alignment is when you set yourself, hence goal, that all your other actions, inside the gym, outside at work, and pretty much how you carry yourself overall is it coordinates with, I guess, what the main purpose of your goal would be. I guess it's like a kind of like a big general type, and it depends what your specific goal is. Just an example, if your main goal, because we work in the gym setting, health and fitness, if your main goal is to live a healthier lifestyle and to be the best version of yourself, kind of just everything, all your other actions, even if you're not in that moment of working out or lifting weights, is also in line with, pretty much the overall goal, like the overall well-being for yourself and how you take care of yourself and all the other actions that you do outside of working out.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think the easiest reference or easiest example is how many people, and I mean, I've been guilty of this in the past, right? And this is why, even as trainers, you got to be careful of it. But if you say you live a healthy lifestyle, or you want to be fit, and you are, you have a goal of getting a 6-pack, and you have a great workout, and then after your great workout, you say you earned this cheat meal, mm-hmm. Is that really something you should be doing? Because now you're justifying your actions of working out to basically go eat whatever you want, go party on the weekends and stuff. So you're really not living a life that's aligned with your goals. Right. You can have as many goals as you want, but if your actions aren't backing those goals up, and if their actions are aligned with what you say your goal truly is, then it's just a dream. Yeah. And a dream is make-believe. Mm-hmm. Right? The difference between a dream and a goal is with action backed behind it, and a game plan, and your game plan is basically your action steps that you're going to take. A dream is something you say that you want and that you have a vision of, but you have no real action or no proof behind it to make anyone believe that it's going to be a goal.
Yeah. And I think too, when your actions don't coincide with what your main goal is, or what, I guess, the parameters that fall in line with it, it's counterintuitive, because then you're kind of, so for example, with the gym, if you're adamant about your goals in the gym and living a healthier lifestyle, and like you said, you go outside but your eating habit is like shit, where you eat like shit, and then you kind of don't get enough sleep, you're not taking care of your body. It's like you take one, like you try to take 2 steps forwards, but the 2 step forward, and then you're going to take 3 steps back. Like you're not helping.
I gotta say, why did you choose those numbers?
I don't know, man.
It's usually you take 1 step forward,
2 steps back. I know, and
you went 2 and 3, and I was like, okay, there has to be a reason behind it.
Because I'm an overachiever.
But then you overachieved backwards.
That's the numbers I chose. You threw me off. But what else? Like pretty much, it's like you go to the gym and you work hard, right? You push yourself beyond like what your current limits may be. But then if you eat like shit on the outside, and then you don't get enough sleep, you're drinking on the weekends, you're partying, it's like you literally backtracked on the progress and the efforts that you put in the gym.
Right.
So
taking into another aspect, like let's say like in the financial aspect, right? The financial mindset of things. You say you're in a saving season, you're saving to buy a house, you're saving to buy a car, you're saving to go on vacation, but then you're going out on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you could be a saving still towards that thing, that goal, yes, but are you saving as much as you could and then just have that goal met? Right? Like you sometimes we limit our potential of our goals and how fast we can achieve our goals because we haven't aligned all of our actions and our mindset and our habits around those actions.
Mm-hmm.
So if, let's say you're going to buy a house and you need to put a down payment down, why not save that up faster and sacrifice the going out and sacrifice the splurging to meet your goal in 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, instead of meeting it in 2 years?
Yeah.
Right? Because then you could splurge all you want after the fact, or you could save even more than your original goal and then, have a bigger down payment and lower your monthly payments, and then which would in turn lead to you being able to splurge again more. So sometimes our our limitation of our effort that we put towards our goals limits the amount of not just the immediate effect, but also the compound effect. So again, if you would have saved 50,000 down for a house, right, versus saving 100,000 down for a house within your 2-year timeline, now, yes, you had to sacrifice short-term longer, but now for your, let's say 20, 30-year loan, whatever it is, now every single month, your monthly payment is lower, meaning that you have more money to do whatever you want with it, right? So now long-term, you have more splurging power.
Right.
Short-term, yeah, it sucked, but you just, bite down. You want a 6-pack, you eat super clean and you stay super dedicated, you'll get that 6-pack in half the time than someone else that's, even having cheat meals, every 2 weeks, right? Or even every weekend. So the more dedicated and the more effort and attention you put towards your tasks or towards the habits that you're building around your goals, then you're going to achieve your goals, 1, faster, but 2, you're going to achieve better goals or even more goals than you would originally have thought.
Yeah. So that's kind of exactly like where I wanted to add in is another side of that is like you said, the habits. You mentioned the habits, because when we set goals, obviously, as we work towards them, and when we do achieve that certain goal or that tier, whatever, from once you do, it's like we talked about, it's about that constant progression. Because then when you do reach that goal, what happens next? Do you go backwards when you attain a 6-pack, or do you attain like a healthier lifestyle, whatever that indicator is for you? Once you get there, what happens afterwards? Do you just go backwards? But right. So the main purpose of it is setting goal. When we set goals, is to achieve that goal and then set another goal that goes beyond that, the next level up. And the only way the foundation and the only way to do that is, kind of making those habits and the discipline that we learn and that we pretty much let that pass by. The habits and the disciplines that we pretty much like build, that's a foundation that will carry us on into achieving that next set of goal. But if we're counterintuitive and even if we do attain that goal, but the habits that we created along the way was working against us, how do you expect to level up? Right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like trying to walk against the stream or walk with the stream, right? If your goal you're gonna place your goal at one side of the stream, wouldn't you want to walk with the stream and, you know, have the current take you and keep that momentum going? That's how goals work. And again, I know I say this saying all the time, and I quote you on it, you know, how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So when you're putting this constant persistence and this constant commitment towards achieving your goals, and everything that you're doing is aligned with your goals, everything else that you start to do, when you tell yourself you're going to do it, you do it, right? And going into like last week's live, when Denny had asked about, you know, self-confidence and discipline and stuff like that, this is how it's built. It's built by doing the things that you don't want to do, but you do want to achieve your goals. So you do them regardless of how you feel, right? And then you build the confidence in yourself. You build the self-belief in yourself that you can achieve anything that you put your mind to it, because you know that no hurdle or obstacle or person or influence that comes in your path between you and your goal is going to matter, because you are going to basically go right through that and get to your goal, right? You're not going to be swayed to stray off the path.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a, you know, how strong, like I guess like a house analogy. It's like, how strong is the foundation of your house? How strong did you build, like, you know, brick by brick, and the type of material that you put into it, so that no matter what can, like, external factor can sway you a different way. And I think too, it's like the whole what is it called? You just said it, the habits. It's like practicing those habits, but continually doing so. Because like, I know like a lot of people in any aspect kind of at a certain point, like when you build a good habit and something happens or you fall off a little bit, then it fades away. So it's that constant repetition, that constant practice, and it's not easy. I think that's what, you know, a lot of people do. I think if not everybody struggles with, or at least like kind of accepting that fact. Like, for example, the 6-pack thing. Once you get a 6-pack, the work required to get the 6-pack, you have to keep doing that work to maintain the 6-pack. It's not like magic, or else it's like, boom, you get a 6-pack and then it just stays there.
Right.
If you eat like shit again and bring back the habits, the bad habits that you had before that didn't get you to the 6-pack, what do you think is going to happen in the 6-pack? What do you think is going to happen to the result and the goals that already have attained?
Right.
It's going to go backwards.
Yeah, it's cause effect. You do good, you get good. You do bad, you get bad. Right. You know, you're doing work that's improving you, you improve. You do work that's gonna basically digress you, right? You digress. And I think using a word like habit, people like to tie it to what they do here and there. Someone will say, yeah, like my habit, I go to the gym, but you go to the gym 2-3 days a week, right? And I'm not saying you go 7 days a week, but you go 2 to 3 days a week, let's say, on a good week. On a bad week, you don't go at all.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where it starts to dictate, are these just actions or are these habits? Habits consistently done over time become habits. Habits aren't hard to do because it's what you do naturally. It is a habit. You brush your teeth when you wake up because it's a habit.
Yeah.
Right. You put deodorant on because it's a habit.
Yeah.
But all these things, when you were 13 years old and just had to start wearing, you know, deodorant for the first time, you forgot all the time, you know, and then you're like, oh, damn, I got to remember to do that, you know. And then so once you start remembering to do it every single day, and all of a sudden, now that's a habit. You do it without forgetting, right? And things that are hard now to get to your goal, let's say going back to the 6-pack, the tasks needed to achieve the 6-pack are harder than those same tasks once you have the 6-pack, because you've done them so many times and you've gotten used to them. So it gets easier. And then once you start to see the results, that's just motivation. So those habits, while they're still the same habits that have become, same actions that become habits, it gets easier. But if you let that degress, you have to swim upstream again to get to that same point of ease. It's not where it's no work or anything like that, but it's less work, or it's less difficult. It's less effort to maintain than it is to achieve.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. We run into that like pretty much here almost all the time, if not every day at the gym. You know, when the members like ask us like, or at least like, you know, talk to us about it, it's like they went on vacation, or you get sick, or you took some time off, and then when they come back, the first day or the first couple of days is like, oh my God, this is so hard. Or if you did, for example, you did like some kind of like extreme challenge or something like that, and then you kind of want this over, the habits that you were doing, obviously you're going to stop them, and then you gain that weight back, and then realizing when you want to kind of that itch again, like, okay, well, I want to lose that weight again, or I want to look better than I did before, and then they try to jump back into it, the realization of like, holy crap, like this is like so much harder. It feels so much harder than before,
Right.
because like that, like kind of like that mental understanding, like I was there before, and then you lost it, and then the effort that it's going to take to get back to where you were, or even beyond that, it's like, yeah. So it's, to me, it's like, obviously no one's perfect, life isn't perfect, things are going to happen, but how bad do you want to achieve that, the goal? How bad do you want to be in the same shape, or it should be even better shape than you were before? So when you have that understanding and that self-realization, like, okay, this is what I want, this is what makes me happy, and that's my goal, to feel good, to be happy when I see what I see in the mirror. It's like, then you got to also understand that it is going to require daily work, right? To maintain that. Because like you said, maintaining it once it becomes a habit, and like daily actions, is going to be a lot easier, because in your perspective, you've already been doing it. But when you stop doing it and you have to do it again, it's like having a fucking jump start, like right when you wake up.
Yeah. I mean, to go to what you're saying, because I think people use this as a lot of excuse before we go into any of the comments.
Which people should be dropping in the comments.
Yeah, that was a subtle hint.
What's a question that you would want them to like drop in the comments?
What is one goal? What is a goal that you are struggling to achieve right now? And so, like, I want to in the comments, I want to see what are some of your goals, right? Whether you believe that you're taking the actions or not. Once we hear your goals, we're going to start throwing out some questions. Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you doing this? And then we'll start to see if you're doing all the things that you need to do to make sure that you're aligning with your goals. But one of the things I do want to touch on before we do answer any of those is, you said life happens, things happen. While that is true, it's not always the case. Sometimes life happens and things happen because you made them or let them happen, right? So you could blame life, you could blame so-and-so, you can blame a place or an event or whatever, but at the end of the day, you were there, you interacted with that person, you let that person, swayed you in a way that basically disaligned you from your goal. So if you really think and you crunch it down, you are the only one that's in control of whether things happen or not to you. And while, yes, there are some uncontrollables, at most of them, I guarantee that you're using as an excuse is something that has been constructed by you and your actions in the past days, in the past weeks, in the past years. So get off that high horse of, oh, well, this is my, my case is special and so forth. No, it's fucking not. No, it's fucking not. Like, we could use that excuse so many times, with our business, with this podcast, with all these things. But we know at the end of the day, we're the only ones to blame for the growth, for the maintenance, for the degression, if any of those things happen. There's nothing that comes our way, obstacle or not, that basically isn't something that we put ourselves into. And if it's an obstacle, you have the choice to either sit and let that obstacle stop you, or to move forward, jump over it, go through it, go around it, whatever the case is. But you have that decision, you have that option.
Yeah, right? Like taking accountability,
right?
Or taking accountability of the actions that that you put in, despite the situation that you're put in.
Right. I mean, so everything, you think, you try to justify everything, right? I went to the gym, so I deserve this. I ate this for the morning, so I can eat this for night. And you start to justify everything. Well, guess what? Justify where you are right now. Everything you've done you deserve where you're at right now. 100%.
Like just like a very simple example is like, you know, when people go on vacation for a week or two, it's like they come back, it's like, oh, I didn't eat healthy, or I didn't get to work out, I didn't get to maintain the habits that I'm supposed to because I went on a 2-week vacation. It's like you chose to go on vacation, but also the situation of you going on vacation doesn't justify or give reason that the actions that you did while on vacation were bad. Like, you know what I mean? You can still enjoy yourself, but not splurge and go completely, you know, the opposite way of what you know you should be doing.
Yeah. I mean, to go this way with it, and some people might get mad, and honestly, I don't care because this is the truth. And
you can't handle the truth.
Honestly, and to go into, like, not dive too much into it, but we've talked about the financial, we talked about entrepreneurs, and I had someone on the podcast the other day that was in the, you know, religion space, and I only had her on because she was able to basically show that, you know, it's her perspective of faith and her perspective. And so it was a cool mindset talk about, you know, religion and stuff like that. But in what we're talking about today, you know what bugs me about certain people that go to, let's say, church or temple or whatever, right? I have no problem with that. I'm all for that. That's your thing, do it. But if you're going to church to confess your sins on Sunday and then doing those same sins on Monday, what the fuck was the confession for on Sunday? Right? If you are going to work out on Sunday and then you're eating like shit on Monday and asking why on Tuesday, it's you. It's 100% you. It's your lifestyle, your choices, your actions. Like, if you really mean that you felt bad for having a cheat meal, I shouldn't see you eating another fucking cheat meal for a while.
Yeah.
You know, or if ever, until you reach your goal, right? And then it's like, okay, well, you know, that's when you told yourself you're going to have a cheat meal. You know, you can stick to your word, right? But that, tying that little aspect in, it's like some people say one thing, but they do another. And that's where this whole talk is going around. It's like what you say to yourself and what you say to others that you want, do you really want that? Because your actions show what you really want, right? Your actions speak louder than words, but also people are watching and listening with their eyes, not just their ears. I can guarantee, I can tell you, like, you can say what your actions or what your goals are and stuff like that, and I can tell you from just watching what your goals are really, right?
Yeah.
So what is has anyone?
Nope, not yet. That's what I was gonna
Has anyone been brave enough?
Nope. I was gonna say, like, you guys don't have to be scared.
You guys don't have dreams?
What's your dreams and aspirations?
Yeah.
Don't be scared to share your goals, guys. But yeah, like
our goals, like, we'll go into this. Like, if no one wants to share their goals, you're all scared. Like, one of our goals, I mean, obviously with the franchise thing, right? We tell people that, yes, we're franchising and blah, 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 that we want to be nationwide. I want to be fucking global, right? And I know it's a reality because other people have done it. Do I think that we could do it right this second? No. But are we consistently taking action to try to make that a reality? 100%, right? 100%. And it's not actions just today and then maybe in a week. It's every single day. And as an entrepreneur, some people will be like, oh yeah, you get to make your own hours and stuff like that. Yeah, for our members, like, I'm not in the gym, but Nick knows, and, you know, Matt knows, and some of the other trainers, like, they see even our trainers, that they see some of it. But even though I'm not here, I work more than the hours of the gym, right? And so does Nick. Whether the gym is open or closed, and we're still fucking grinding because our fucking goals, me and him have majority of the same goals, right? Like, obviously there's a few like personal ones on both of us that are different, but majority of our professional goals and business goals are very aligned. And we hold each other accountable, but also we're only business partners and friends because we have such a strong self-accountability that we've aligned on that fact. I don't take excuses from myself, and I don't blame other people for the things that happen to me. If and when, and majority of the times, like, again, I said, it is your actions or inactions that cause that thing. I'm like, okay, it is what it is. Like, that's my favorite saying. Like, when something comes along, Nick's like, oh damn, what are we gonna do? I don't know. It is what it is. We'll figure it out. That's how it goes. You figure it out. You keep doing it, whether you feel like it, whether you're in an up season or you're in a down season. You keep fucking going.
Yeah, and I think too, just like in addition to that, with the whole, what your actions back up, like your actions pretty much dictate what your goals are, not just what you say. That very much goes with like, even if people don't see it, you know what I mean? Especially with those big goals, like what you do behind closed doors, the practices and the actions and the habits that you do and that you practice when no one is looking matter the most, because like, what you're doing. So the internal realization that like, are you honest with yourself that you are actually, backing up and living your life towards achieving the goal that you want, and practicing those self-disciplines and those pretty much those habits that you're supposed to be building, like towards that thing that you're trying to attain or that you're trying to achieve.
Any in the comments yet? Let's go for it.
So I mean, some people jumped in too. So Devin's question earlier from you guys that are watching on the live right now.
Honestly, let's throw out a different question. I feel like people don't want to be called out either, even though
you scared them, bro.
I mean, honestly, like that's in like the networking group that we're part of too. Like, it's called a hot seat, right? It's, you say where you're at, you say where your goals are, and it's one of those things where you get held accountable for it. Does it put you on the spot? 100%. But honestly, those are the times that you're forced to self-analyze. And those are the biggest aha moments that you will receive. And whether you realize that whether you want to admit or not that you're messing up, doesn't change the fact that you're messing up. So it's one of those like, okay, like, let's have the aha moment together, or give you a different perspective to give you that aha moment. But let's go into a different question. Who has had that realization that they were doing actions, their actions weren't aligned with their goals? Who had that realization? I'll say it again. Who had that realization that at one point you might have been out with your friends at the club, you might have been, fucking, I don't know, can't think of that much right now. But
at a party?
I mean, yeah, I was trying to think of a different picture than just partying and clubbing. But you might have been splurging, right? You might have been eating a cheat meal, whatever the case is. What was that aha moment for you? And how did you basically turn your actions around and start to achieve your goal moving forward? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Made sense in my head.
Yeah. So you guys a lot of times drop it in the comments. Like, when you had that aha moment, when when you're out and about and you're not, pretty much you're in that situation. How did you turn things around?
Right.
Millie dropped a comment. Appreciate you, Millie. She said, I want to not only age gracefully, but also powerfully. The weights that I do today will benefit me every day, every birthday. I want to be strong, whether I'm in my 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s.
Honestly, that's actually a pretty solid one.
That's a really good goal.
And like, that goal, I mean, that goal is worded in a way that it doesn't sound like it's like super tight knit with so many things, so many impactful things, but it is. The weights and the workouts that you do today do improve you for tomorrow. But again, as we age, normally our body starts to atrophy, right? Your muscles start to decay, your bones start to brittle. But that's why a lot of older people, right, get hurt and then easily break bones and easily pull muscles and so forth. But it's because, what is the trend that typically happens? People start aging and they stop working out as much or even at all. And then, well, if you're not, even if we stop working out right now, and all of a sudden our bodies start to, the muscle that we built from working out starts to eat itself, right? It starts to decrease. So if you're working out as you're getting older, you're not only, one, going to get stronger, but two, you're going to be a better than average, and in the 1% of people in your age group that actually have a fulfilling and full life. Like you can go out, you can go on vacations, you can fucking hang out with your grandkids and everything and play with, football or catch or whatever with them without having to worry about, throwing out your back.
Yeah, I worry about that now. No, but yeah, I definitely agree. Like you guys, I'm sure everybody's seen that, like, like different gyms and stuff like that, or even here that like are, a little bit older than like the general population of the gym. And like, I honestly, I admire and I commend those people the most. I obviously I just think that in my head, because it's like, I understand like the discipline and the relentless effort day in and day out that they are living their daily lives and their actions in line with what their primary goal was from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's why like props to you guys.
Yeah. I mean, goals don't have an expiration date. Right.
That's deep.
So goals don't have an expiration date. So it's like your goal never passed. Yeah, situations may have passed, opportunities may have passed or closed, but that doesn't mean there won't be other opportunities or there's not other ways to get about achieving that goal in most cases.
We got some comments. Next one, Vanessa said, Nick always holding me accountable. Of course, you know I'm always here holding you guys accountable. You better pick it up. Jess, shout out Jess. She said, buy my own home.
Okay.
That's in response to like, what are their goals?
So Jess, honestly, that thank you for throwing in one to the original question.
Yeah.
Right?
That's one of my goals too. So I, props to her.
So the original question, so Millie answered the second question. Jess, you're going to the first question,
what are your goals?
So, well, just so people know, the first question originally was, what is your goal, right? I just want to know what your goal is. Then we're going to throw out some just basically bullet points and see, and then you're the only one that's going to know if this is true or not. But these are things to hold yourself accountable and to self-analyze towards your goal. Are you doing these things? Could you do these things better? Right. And then the second question that Millie had answered was, what was that aha moment that you realized you needed to switch up your current actions, or what actions are you doing currently to align with your goal? Right. So going into Jess's and throwing out some bullet points and, to buy a house, right? We'll go with a few bullet points here. So are you currently putting money away? This is a basic one, putting money away into a separate account from your general savings. Like this is your house buying, down payment fund, right? That's number one. Number two, are you budgeting? Like, do you know how much money you spend a month? Do you know how much money you bring in a month as a household, right? Because that's one thing people don't realize. Like business, we have to do our books for business every single month, right? We have to know our P&Ls, our profit and loss statements. But at the same time, like you should still be doing that for your home. Your home is a business. You spend money on groceries and to take care of your kids and to do all that kind of stuff.
Upkeep,
all that kind of stuff. So what is your expenses? What is your income? Now, those are the two, the basic ones. The other ones are, how often are you going out, drinking, socializing with friends? Not saying that you can't do it, but how often are you doing it? Are you doing it, frugally, where you're just wherever you want, whenever you want? Are you dictating how many times a month that you can do that? Or how many times are you eating out, right? How many times are you going out with the family to dinner, to breakfast, and all those kind of things? Are you doing vacations? How often are you going on vacations? How expensive can the vacations be? Because if you are just going on vacation, well, if your goal is this and you're dedicating 10% of your income or your quote unquote profit, right, whatever's left over from your income after expenses, towards buying a house, how much left over can you put towards your vacation? And then you save up for vacation, right? So those, some basic ones I would say right there, right? And I guarantee one thing that people don't realize is that eating out, I don't care if it's going to a nice dinner and you're not eating fast food, and even if it's just once a week, right? You go out to dinner, even if it's just you and your significant other, you go out to dinner for one night, you spend what, $100, depending on where you're at, $200 if you're drinking. That shit will buy you 2 weeks of groceries, right? It's when you go out to healthier places to eat healthier, when you're going to a restaurant, that's more expensive. But those same vegetables and those same, the same produce and the same, meat inside the store, you could buy a week or 2 weeks worth for that one dinner bill.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And just to add to that too, like it goes a little bit, and again, this is not to say you're not doing it, you know, it's to each their own, holding yourself accountable to the actions that you're doing. But it goes even more in depth of like, how prepared are you? Keeping in mind, like, you know, you're trying to buy a home, and like when obviously that comes down to the financials. So on a weekly basis, you know, and at the same time, that ties in with you, what your health goals are, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're trying to buy the home, but also be in a healthier state and, you know, lose weight, whatever it is, it's like, if you're unprepared at the end of the week, on the weekend where you're supposed to do groceries or order your meal prep or whatever it is, during the week now, you're realizing, oh crap. And of course, we do the groceries and meal prep in a way that should be, like Devin said, you know, doing your numbers properly. It's like, it's supposed to be beneficial to you as to being able to save money, right? Now, if you're unprepared and you don't take the right actions as to setting yourself up for success, now during the week, you're having to go buy lunch or buy dinner 3 days, 4 days out of the week, which causes you to spend more money than what you would be saving, and if you were more prepared for it.
Yeah.
So just next.
Hopefully that helps a little bit, Jess.
Yeah, but the great goal. Cheryl, shout out Cheryl. She said, when I started eating less processed food as part of the Strive Challenge, I realized I felt better and was less foggy. This helped me build better eating habits.
That's solid. That's actually that's an awesome one.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize, and sometimes it does take a challenge, or sometimes it does take, you know, buying a meal plan, or a form of accountability. And it goes into, you can even have an accountability partner, but sometimes it takes that actually doing it to feel the results yourself. Like, you knew the whole time that it would probably make you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we all know that if we would have saved a little bit more money, we would have more money to do things, but we still don't do it, right? So sometimes it's you actually doing the action and seeing for yourself what the result is that gives you that aha moment. Mm-hmm. And that, I mean, that's amazing, because it's so true. And it is cheaper to be healthy than it is to be sick.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah. And yeah, definitely I've seen, you know, Cheryl, like, again, like I've seen the transformation, and like how much she's told me personally, like health wise, like it benefited her in the long run. You know what I mean? Like just realizing like how much, like little things, like how she felt, you know, how she felt like just with her body, that pretty much like eating cleaner and having the challenge hold her accountable to do what she knew she needed to do was like a big step into actually making a significant difference, you know, that was for overall well-being of her health. So
yeah, so low-key plug, we are doing a challenge starting September 2nd.
In 2 weeks. So,
you know, if you haven't signed up yet, sign up, because there are only a few spots left.
Mm-hmm. Vanessa dropped the shout out Vanessa. Before coming to Strive, I kept telling myself that I needed to take my workouts to the next level. I needed the extra push that all the amazing coaches at Strive hold me accountable to.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
The team appreciates it. You know, sometimes we get into a routine, and that routine, even though it's still aligned with our goals, right? Let's say it's just running, you're just running outside, and you know, that's your form of workout. You will get to a point where you realize that you're just going through the motions and you're not pushing yourself anymore. And you have to realize that the point where you're pushing yourself is the point where you're actually growing, right? So the growth is in the struggle. The growth is in the effort that you're not doing right now. Sometimes in running might have been hard, but when it stops getting hard, now you like something like Strive or something of that nature. And if you don't have a Strive in your location, you know, we are franchising, but it's one of those things where sometimes you do need the extra push, and it may not be something that you can give yourself. So, you know, for that, like if you were working out by yourself, hiring a personal trainer, or going to a gym like Strive where we have trainers for you, or let's go back to Jess. Sometimes you don't know how to create your own budgets. And Jess, I'm not saying you do or don't, but sometimes you don't know how to create your own budgets, and hiring a person to even just teach you how to start creating your own budget, right? You don't have to hire a bookkeeper, but, you know, take an online course of learning how to do QuickBooks, right? And now your personal accounts, like you just do this for QuickBooks or whatever, you know, however you want to do it, Google Sheets, however you want to do it. But Sometimes it's a course, sometimes it's a coach, sometimes it's a mentor. We hired a franchise mentor when we launched a franchise because I knew it was one of those things where I could probably figure this out. And I told Nick, I was like, look, I could probably figure this out, but we could just hire this dude, and he was not cheap, right? And it was like, we could hire this dude, then I can just grind. And I know I can grind faster with more efficient effort to get to the end goal faster of launching the franchise. And then Nick was like, yep, I agree, let's do it. And so we did it. Even the mentor was like, dude, I've never seen someone actually take the franchise with everything that you've already done, the established systems and processes all done within basically a 6-month window. He was like, normally my clients take a year to a year and a half to do this. And he was like, what were you doing? I was like, nonstop work from fucking 5 a.m. to 1 a.m. some days. And it was like, that's how much effort we were able to put in because we knew the direction we went, we were going to go, because we hired the outside help. Yeah. So like with that, kind of a factor that plays in is the time, the time that we're paying for. It's like what Devin said, it's like, kind of like that external help. It's more so like, whatever our goal is, whatever, it's like buying a house, like achieving that dream body, taking your workouts to the next level, whatever it may be, right? At a certain time frame, you maybe or probably will figure it out, but how long is that going to take, right? So that time factor comes into play. So having that realization and like getting that pretty much, it's like you're paying for the experience, paying for the knowledge, paying for the mistakes that someone else made that they learned from, so that you can avoid those mistakes or make the changes way faster than they did. Right. Like how I think about it is like there's an average timeline of getting to the goal, and by basically hiring someone that has already been down that path, you're condensing the timeline. You want to pay with money, or you want to pay with time? Right. So like, I mean, for me, and I've told them that I'm not in this to, sit on the beach and do all that kind of stuff. Like, I actually like working. I get antsy if I'm not working. Same. Right. And so I love the game of business, the psychology behind it and everything, but I also love the game and the psychology of fitness and what it brings people, the impact it can have on people, both what business can have on people and what fitness can have on people, and the impact you can leave on someone's life with it. That's what drives me. So it's one of those things where that's why we push so hard to keep growing and keep doing, because we want to impact more. But again, just because Jess is the only one you mentioned so far, let's say you did hire someone that isn't a realtor, right? You can hire a financial, advisor, but you can hire just a general financial advisor, or you can hire someone that specializes in basically growing your money to buy a house, growing your current, and basically creating a strategy around, what you're trying to do. So you look for a specialist in the niche that you're trying to achieve. Yeah, I agree. Mariana dropped a comment. Shout out, Mariana. I noticed I stopped craving fatty foods once I started seeing results. I love ice cream. Same, honestly, I do. Yeah, so see, we love ice cream. And now my sister and I make protein ice cream. That sounds pretty bomb. Now, my sister and I make protein ice cream with our creamy machine. LOL. Yeah, that's actually pretty sick. Honestly, I'm kind of jealous because I'm lazy and I'll just buy like the Halo Top or one of those ones. But see, that is pretty solid though. Like, you craved ice cream, you craved fatty foods, but now you crave the results that you've gotten from doing what you didn't want to do. And then you found alternatives to still fulfill that, desire, but that it still doesn't taste the same as what you used to eat. Right. And like the fact of making that switch from, the regular ice cream, the regular fatty foods, but once you did see those results, it's the actions that you took that backed up what your main goal was. Right. That's a great comment. And I'm super happy for you, both you, Mariana, and your sister, of, living up to this and, living up to the standard of what it takes and the actions that it takes, and applying them, consistently to, one, have that effect of feeling good, but two, staying in line with your goal. So what else we got? That was the last comment so far. Oh, come on, don't be scared, y'all. So yeah, tell us what your goals are.
or certain aha moments that, you know, you realize that you weren't necessarily, you know, taking steps that are in line with your goals, and like how you
What are
turned
the
it
new
around.
steps?
Yeah, what are the new steps that you took?
I mean, one of the other things that I did want to talk about that me and Nick always laugh about, because you always hear people say this, especially in the entrepreneurial space and technically in the fitness space, right? But delayed gratification, right? And realize that your goals aren't always going to be achieved in a day, in a week, in a month, even in a year.
Mm-hmm.
But they do start to come to light as you get closer to them. And then all of a sudden you start to put more action, and then all of a sudden that light starts to open up, you start to see more and more. But even like with Strive, you know, because I'll use us as a reference. I don't always like just using hypotheticals, because, you know, anyone can do that, right? So giving you guys a little more insight on us. We opened up the gym, we opened up this location, and we didn't hire any trainers at first, right? Not that we couldn't, but we didn't, because we knew that when we hired a trainer, or hired a couple of trainers, that we wanted to do it and still have excess funds to try out other stuff. You know, we had systems originally that cost us money that we don't have anymore. They weren't beneficial, right? Trial and error. But we could have taken that same money and pocketed it, or used it to continue to grow the business. Then we took the money and then launched the franchise, right? Which was more expensive and people that ask me more so, because I know I'm the one doing the work on this side than, you know, you. But this question, I've told you how many, you know, a bunch of times too, that I get. It's like, why didn't you open up a second location before launching the franchise, right? And then the easier version of telling people, it's like, and this is the more true version too, is we wanted to make sure that we give all of our attention to especially to the first couple people, because they're our foundation. They're the people that are going through some of the rough patches with us in launching in a different state. I mean, me and Nick were just talking before this, and we're on the trajectory of launching in 3 other states at almost around the same time. So that is,
there could be a Strive coming near you.
So that is its own stress in itself. But at the same time, we could have launched 2 gyms and had those going and stuff. But I wanted to make sure that, you know, I could give my attention to them, and Nick could give his attention to our team here. And then we're going to, you know, open up our second, our third, and our fourth. But we wanted to make sure that we're giving back and actually doing what we said we're going to do, and expand and impact other people's lives, because we have the vehicle to do it. But also the other aspect of it, talking about delayed gratification, again, that money that we could have been pocketing this whole time, we used it to launch the franchise. Like, we didn't take out another loan or anything like that to launch the franchise. We saved the money up, we budgeted the money, and then we launched the franchise, which was more expensive than opening a second location. Would it have been smarter to open a second location and use both of them and then launch franchise? Maybe. But at the same time, you never know, right? Could it have been more stressful? Maybe, right? But this is what we decided to do. We decided this before even launch, like even before hiring the advisor or anything like that. We set a plan. We weighed out our options, and we're like, look, this is what we want to do. This is why we're going to do it. And we basically took the money that we could have, you know, opened up a second gym and increased again our pockets to start doing what we said we wanted to do. Delayed gratification. Our goal is to keep opening locations for us, right? That's our goal. But at the same time, we know other people, even some members that have wanted to, you know, open up Strives and stuff. And why are we going to put our goals before their goals? So we're delayed our gratification and growth in one aspect to grow our actual goal on another aspect to help other people grow their goals too. But delayed gratification goes into anything. Fitness, you want a 6-pack? Well, fuck, don't eat that pizza.
Yeah, put that cookie down.
Yeah, you can have it later. You know, it's like there's so many things. But again, it doesn't always appear right away. It takes time. And sometimes you just have to actively be patient, right? I mean, we launched the franchise a year ago, and Nick has seen the struggles and the stresses that I've had calling people, calling leads for a year straight. And now a year later, the original goal in the beginning of the year was to, you know, get 3 to 5 franchises, you know, within this year. My goal wasn't to have them all sign on at the same time, but at the same time, am I pumped about that? 100%. But it was delayed gratification, and it could have given up, like, oh, it's not working, you know, blah, blah, blah. And let's just open our second gym. But no, it's the persistence and the consistent work. It pays off if you stay consistent. And that's why people say that we're part of, not we're, but like in groups or industries or niches, there's the 1% of people, right? There's the 1%ers. Those are the people that don't fucking give up. Those are the people that actually do it day in and day out and continue to do it, whether they see the progress or not, knowing that the progress is around the corner.
Yeah, like that's exactly where I kind of want to touch on too. It's the fact of we launched a sweater a while back. And the design on the back was we didn't tell what the members what it was.
Oh,
we had them guess.
A game, yeah.
Yeah, it was a game. We had them guess what the symbol on the back of the sweatshirt was, and whoever got it right got a free sweatshirt. But the point of it is what the thing was on the back of the sweatshirt was an iceberg. And right. It's like an iceberg like this, and then it had a line that cut off right at the tip. And what that symbolizes is what most people see on the outside, on the external view of it. They only see the result. You know what I mean? They don't see that big part, that big ass chunk at the bottom, which is all the work, the sacrifice, the delayed gratification, and the effort that it took to achieve that little tip at the top. Just like that six-pack thing. Most, or just six-pack, or just being overall, in great shape or whatever. Most people on the outside, and especially at a regular gym, most people probably judge other people, or say like, oh yeah, they're genetics, they take steroids, anything negative. But on the reality, the person that they're judging like that, which could be you in that sense, it's like they don't understand the sacrifices, all the hard goddamn work that you put in to achieve that body that you have now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They don't know how many pizzas or cookies or ice cream that you wanted to have, but you didn't, because you stuck to your goal and you kept yourself in line in making the right actions to achieve the goal.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think everybody shouldn't get discouraged about, especially letting that chit chatter on the outside. It's like, fuck that. It's like, if you have a goal and you achieve it and you're at a good place with the goal that you have, and like anything that anybody says on the outside, don't let anybody take that shit away from you. At the end of the day, how hard you work to get there. How hard you worked is on you. So you got to be proud of it, and you got to take that like pretty much and use it as fire to keep going forward, to keep making the efforts and applying the disciplines and the actions and the habits every single day.
Yeah. I mean, your actions, your goals, someone should be able to tell what your goals are by just watching you. Mm-hmm. That you shouldn't need to tell someone what your goals are. If they were able just to watch everything that you did, they should be able to tell you what your goals are. And if you don't think someone could tell what your goal is because of your actions, then you're not fucking doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. Like
you need to reassess.
You just need to reassess what you're doing. Like, do you really want it? Do you really want it as bad as you say you want it? Or are you just saying that you want it because you think that other people want to hear that you want something super big? Right? And it's cool to have goals and it's cool to have dreams, but it's not cool to fucking sit in the same spot over and over again saying you had the same dream from 10 years ago. Right? It's like, what actions have you taken to get closer to that goal in the last 10 years? Right. Oh, nothing? You're actually worse off now? It's like, well, fuck, dude, change your goal.
Yeah. And not the fact of like, even entertain the external factors and the stuff that's being said on the outside. It should be used as fuel, I think, to me. You know what I mean? Like
sometimes it can be used as a reality check.
Yeah, that too.
And I'm not saying this in every situation, but if someone's saying something and it hurt your feelings, why did it hurt your feelings? Did it hurt your feelings because it was true? Mm-hmm. Did it hurt your feelings because someone noticed something and it didn't align with what you were saying, but it was true and you didn't want to hear that? Well, fucking tough luck.
You better prove them wrong. That's my perspective too on everything.
Change your actions.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get that outside feedback essentially that you didn't want to hear, but you got it, and now you can't change the fact. Mm-hmm. But now you can change what the outcome is from it. Your tomorrow is dictated by your actions, right? So you didn't like that. Okay, well, what are you going to do tomorrow about it? Mm-hmm. Right?
What's that saying? Success is the best revenge, or something like that. It's like, people are always going to talk negative, but the fact of like, if you back up what your goals are and what you say you're going to do with the action, and you achieve it and you keep excelling, it's like, prove them wrong. Like, let them hold their breath until they pass the fuck out. that's kind of aggressive.
Yeah. Okay.
So Mariana's answer. Sorry, I got emotional there. Mariana said, "What's the last day to sign up for the challenge?" A little shameless plug. Great question. So you can sign up pretty much for the challenge anytime between now and it starts on September 2nd, which is a Monday. So literally
you can sign up until
the start, and up until from now up until September 2nd.
Right.
Yeah. And Deco back in the comments. He said goals: landing my first client through my own business development efforts, better time management by having time blocks pre-scheduled on my calendar the day before.
I'll say it again. I got what the goal was. What was after
Landing my first client through my own business development efforts.
Yeah.
Better time management by having time blocks pre-scheduled on my calendar the day before.
So this is like an answer to question 2 originally, but I'm going to give you an answer to question 1 also.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, you know, Deco, you're my boy, and I'm gonna
Deco's our boy.
I'm going to keep it real. That is awesome. That is step 1, right? Or a step. I don't know if it's step 1 or 4 or whatever it is in your situation. Time blocking is awesome, and it does work 100%. You know, I time block and everything because otherwise my ADD gets the best of me. You know, so I think that's an amazing step. But you have to be honest. Are you being honest with your time blocks? Are you being honest in the amount of effort that you're giving in each time block? Are you, when you say you're going to call leads, are you actually calling leads without disruption, without taking a pause to, you know, go out for a drive or whatever the case is, right? Are you actually giving yourself that time block? Because if you need to even go to the grocery store, time block that in. Time block, like when you time block your entire day, everything that you're going to do in a day. You don't time block what you need and what you should do between certain hours. That's one thing. Other thing is, what are you currently doing to get your first client? Are you doing enough? Is there more that you could be doing?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing the same, or are you doing the same thing without trying additional ways, whether it's additional text, additional, you know, methods of contact, point of contact? Because sometimes people say that you just need persistence and you just need commitment. But sometimes people have a delusional commitment to persistence. I had, again, this episode is going to drop on Monday. The owner of this software company, Deco, I'll send you over the link as well, because I think this is a software that we actually just started using. I think it'll be huge for you. But he was talking about how he was doing cold calls, and when he was first getting into, you know, the industry, and how he just had to do cold calls. He said the exact number, it was like 2,100 and something calls, and didn't get a single booking, a single lead or whatever.
Damn.
He could have kept going. But what he did instead was, his dad told him to basically go to the library, because at that time they didn't have like laptops and stuff. Go to the library, get a book on sales, get a book on cold calling. And he did, and he read it, and he wrote down the scripts and everything that was in it. And he went back, and then the next basically working day, he got his first booked appointment. That wasn't coincidence. It was, if something's not working,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you need help, or a change in perspective, a change in technique, right? So take that, take that into consideration, or is that something that you are thinking about? I mean, I'll leave, those are two like bigger ones that I'll just leave there, and not like harp too much into it. But those are, I think, the two biggest things, because that's even something that we had to realize in the beginning. It's like, when we were getting members and stuff, new members for the gym, yeah, we can keep doing the same thing that got us the first 50 members, the first 100 members, but then it stops working. You know, it's all of a sudden that faucet starts to turn off a little bit. You always have to keep innovating what you're doing, trying new things, because that's how you continue to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you will hit a point of either plateau, or in business, it starts to, if you plateau, the next thing is decline.
Yep.
If you just let it, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, right? You have to switch it up and throw a curveball into what you're doing to get it to go back up.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a great, you know, advice too, because it applies to everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for you guys with the fitness thing or, you know, whatever, a career goal, if it's not working a certain way, or if it stops working, something that you're doing, then it's time to stop, reassess, and adjust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's not working one way, you got to try another way. You know what I mean? If a certain regimen that you're doing for, you know, your weight loss or muscle gain or whatever you're trying to attain, it's like, you can't just keep doing the same thing if it's not working anymore, or if it stops working at a certain point, you're just like running into a damn wall. Like, you know what I mean? You got to stop, look around, and then see what you're supposed to do, get external help, pay for that knowledge, pay for that experience, pay for the mistakes that everyone else has made, so you can apply them, and then you can go back on the right track of making the right steps forward.
Yeah. You go on a website and then you push, and then it doesn't load. You push reload, it doesn't reload. Push a reload again, it doesn't reload. What are you going to keep doing? Keep pushing reload? Maybe you should turn off your computer.
Yeah.
You know, like
kick it like the old school.
You know, yeah. N64 blow in the disc thing.
Matt one time told me he got pissed at his college computer. He's like, it stopped working. So what I just was, I opened my college window dorm room and I just threw it out.
That was because Matt be watching too much porn on his computer.
Oh man. But yeah, that's a great point. Like, you know, for everybody that's watching or ends up listening to this, if you find yourself stuck at a certain point or at a plateau or staying stagnant, don't keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Understand that you got to make adjustments, but also, you know, especially if it's like your goal or what you're doing is something that's very complex, like Devin said, like business or anything like that, or
life is complex.
Yeah, like you're dealing with people or numbers or business and things like that. It's like, if you're not constantly growing and progressing, just like your life goals, you may be staying stagnant, but at a certain point you're gonna start to decline. So you only have to keep going up, is my point.
Yeah, and I want to leave it with this too, because this goes into what Jess was saying, what Deco was saying. Who else commented?
Cheryl, Vanessa.
Pretty much everyone that commented, there's one key factor, and this goes into knowing if your actions are aligning with your goals. Track your progress, right? If you're not tracking your progress, even in business, if we weren't tracking our progress and doing our books, we don't know what the health of the business is. We don't know the trajectory of the business. Is it going up? Is it going down? I don't know, right? But when you're tracking your progress, you can start to see it. So like even our gym, we have the body composition scale. When you're doing your reading, are you improving? Are you not improving? Are you staying the same? Are you getting worse? Like, you only know from knowing what the numbers are, or knowing what your current path has been. Has it been improving? Has it been, you know, decreasing? And then you can make adjustments accordingly. Mm-hmm. But if you're just, you know, shooting your shot in the dark, you may or may not hit the rim. Talking about basketball and not anything else, you know what I mean? But with that being said, guys, it's getting late, and we know you guys have been on for a little while, and our brains are definitely tuning out. So we don't want you guys to tune out. We want to make sure that you tune in to the episode on Monday. And like always, we love y'all. We appreciate you guys. If you guys need anything else, shoot us a DM.
Mm-hmm. We're here for you.
But with that being said, make sure you guys share this with a friend. Leave us a review. Till next time, guys.
No negative vibes, only positive thoughts. Just in the